What happens when truth doesn't matter anymore?
Good morning, and welcome to another episode, another edition of The Outsiders. My name is Sean Simms, your host, and I'd like to welcome our new co-host, superstar Marvin Doc Cheatham.
Good morning, family. Good morning, everyone.
I'm going to start off with what the whole city of Baltimore is talking about, and that is, will he or won't he, I'm talking about Lamar Jackson, number 8, will he or won't he stay with the Ravens? And we've been going back and forth, Rock and myself and Doc, the Rock and Doc connection, which is what we have here at WMEG. And we've been going back and forth. I don't know. I mean, Doc, what do you think Lamar's going to do? Is he going to stay or is he going to bounce?
I think he's going to stay, and I don't mind admitting I'm optimistic that he will stay, but I think he will stay, and I think he will get probably maybe 3/4 of the contract that he would like. But I will say, I think the brother need to get an agent.
Yeah, I said that the other week, I believe. Like I said, I think Giovanni Patterson was here. I had surgery to repair the torn bicep off the shoulder, and trust me, that's not fun, kids. And great doctor, Dr. Saltzman, did a fantastic job, orthopedic surgeon. And as much as I love my mother, I'm not going to have her do that surgery. I mean,
yeah.
So we'll see what's going to happen. I have my thoughts on it. I'm going to keep my thoughts to myself on this one. I think, no, I won't. I think he's going to stay in Baltimore because we can match whatever anybody else puts out, and they're not going to put out with so much. So there you go. We're loaded today because there is so much going on in this crazy world and crazy city, Baltimore. We've got presidents talking about ice cream or chocolate chips or cake, candy, snacks or whatever, clowning around on the mic while parents, spouses, and families in Nashville, Tennessee are suffering after that shooting this past Wednesday, March 27th. And I thought that was a shame the way he got on the mic and started clowning around like that. My mom's birthday happened to be March 27th as well, so happy belated birthday to my mom, March 27th. But what happened there? Quick, Doc, what do you think about that? I love Nashville. I've been to Nashville. Love Nashville, Tennessee. That is such a great place, and it's non-segregated, unlike Baltimore. I mean, the city is clean. It is a really, really nice city. What do you think about that situation?
Well, it's definitely a music capital to some extent.
Oh, yeah.
When I was with the NAACP, we would always pick cities where you would go and be a tourist, and so I was a tourist. So it's a very entertaining city. But I think we have reached a point of no return. To see these children and adults being killed by folks with weapons, and I really blame the United States Senate, United States Congress for not doing sufficient enough to really significantly reduce the weapons that these folks are celebrating, taking pictures, and the children are doing it. And I really think not only should the individual who does it have to do time if they still live, but I think the parents of these individuals that have guns and these kids are killing other folks, I think there needs to be a scrutiny done as to what the parents should have done to alleviate this problem.
Exactly. I feel the same way. If the parents know that their kids are gang banging or doing whatever, and they've got all kinds of weapons, Kalashnikovs and AR-15s and pistols, 9mm. And if they're aware of it, they should definitely be held responsible. I believe that specifically if the child's living in a home, of course, which is where they're going to be.
I feel the same way about in Baltimore City. I think when a child has a gun and does something with a gun, I think the investigation should also include the parents. I'm telling folks, and I've been telling them since September as a community president, go in your child's bedroom, in his drawers, under the pillows, because these guns are not in trash cans. These guns are in our houses.
I believe you are perfectly correct, on point with that, Doc. And what's going on over in Israel, an upheaval over the changes wanted by Netanyahu. I'm just saying there's so much news out there with this show. It's an hour show, but these are some of the things going on, and it looks like the Baltimore City's population, as I have stated, is below 570,000, and it keeps dropping like a rock as people continue to flee the city, and it's whack job mayor. I'm going to see if John Carpenter can do the third in the Escape From series, and that will be Escape from Baltimore.
Escape from Baltimore.
Because that's what's going on.
Well, I don't mind admitting I like the first two escapes.
I'm a John Carpenter fan. I like the I like Escape from New York, Escape from L.A., The Thing when he read
Kurt Russell, right?
With Kurt Russell as well, and They Live with Roddy Piper. So I'm a big John Carpenter fan, but we will also be going over the Trump arrest saga and the continuing situation with the two lawsuits against Slim Shady. We will also be discussing the Maryland Electronic Court and its ramifications. And like I said and promised, the interview did take place, because the outsiders, when we say we're going to do something, we do it. The interview did take place with White House Press Correspondent Simon Ateba, and make sure you don't miss it, okay? If you're listening, get your people to listen to this. This is a White House Press Correspondent, and he gives some inside information. I had to pull some strings, but the outsiders, we get things done. But first, we have superstar Doc Cheatham who will be giving us his segment to start the show. What information will you be schooling the people today with, Doc?
Well, here's what I'm going to share. I think each of us that did the press conference in front of City Hall a little more than a week ago, each of us agreed that we need to stop talking so much and create action items. My two action items were one in the area of food deserts, but today the other one is dealing with voting and the injustices that took place, and our Senator Antonio Hayes, who we gave the award to, posthumously a negative award. There are three things that happened last year, and we need to improve upon the situation because it directly affects senior citizens. We do not have an early voting site in West Baltimore that is predominantly African American. We do not have an early voting site. Last year on the primary, we witnessed over 60 seniors coming to a polling place that Senator Hayes did nothing to help inform the residents that their polling place had been closed, and these seniors came, found out on the day of the election, the polling place at Lillian Jones on Stricker Street was closed, and they were not going to be able to walk 8 to 9 blocks in the heat to go vote, and they were not going to vote. And myself, two other seniors, an African-American senior woman and a Caucasian senior man, the three of us spent the entire day taking folks to the polling place.
Wow.
But here is one of the solutions, and this is my recommendation to you, the audience, and I need everyone to kind of help us. We have many seniors in Baltimore City. Many of them are now residing in senior buildings. We know of at least 88 that we can document, which means many of our seniors are possibly no longer driving. They're either using some type of transportation, whether it be public or paying transportation, or they are not going to certain events. One of those events is voting. Now the state of Maryland has allowed people to register to vote and request a mail ballot, not an absentee ballot. We no longer have absentee ballot. You don't need a reason. If you want to vote and not go to the polling place and get it by mail, all you have to do is register to vote and then notify the Board of Elections, depending upon what county you're in, that you want to mail in your vote. And that's what I'm encouraging all of us to do. Let's look at this. Let's look at the group that votes more than any other group in America. And those are senior citizens.
That's for sure.
We're the ones who vote. And we're the ones who, for more than likely, vote more intelligently than many others. And what we are suggesting through Matthew Henson Neighborhood Association, through this outstanding radio broadcast, we are introducing a concept, and we're going to publicize this for over a year. We're going to encourage seniors, as we call them, golden ages, to vote by mail. Don't go through the hassle of finding transportation, knowing whether or not your polling place is closed or not closed, not having Antonio Hayes do a damn thing about early voting. And we're saying, let's not go through all of these changes. Let's encourage seniors to register to vote and then request a mail ballot.
I agree. I think that's a great idea because, I mean, you're scrambling around having to get to the polls to vote. And if you're a golden ager, a senior, an older adult, whatever you want to be, known as. I like golden ager though. I like that.
That was the name that Matthew Henson coined when I did a 1-year radio show on another radio station. That was the name that we coined thanks to one of the people that were co-hosting with me. So that's the name we use, golden agers. We know they're senior citizens, we know they're elders, but I like the golden agers name myself.
It's classy. Golden ager. See, when I reach, I'm not going to give my age.
Watch it now.
But I'm a few ticks away from 60, believe it or not.
Okay, God's been good to you.
When I get to that stage in life, I like that. I want to be called a golden ager.
I like the idea. And folks, if you ever read Psalms, Psalms will tell you 70. That's what the Lord would give you. Well, some of us have gone past 70. So every day I wake up, I say, thank you, Lord.
Yep, and that's a blessing when there's more. And I like that. You know what? As a matter of fact, I'll just call myself right now a golden middle ager.
Yeah, golden middle ager.
Yeah.
Well, folks, I'm real serious about this mail voting. I know that this will make a change. I know this will alleviate many of the challenges that golden agers have with voting. Go ahead and register to vote. Make certain that your voting is registered in the location where you are residing. But then go ahead and call the election board and let them know you want a mail ballot. You want to vote by mail. That way you can sit in the house. You can mark the ballot as you see fit. You can get some advice and guidance on who to vote for, who not to vote for. And then you can go ahead and mail it back. And it's not the challenge, not the problem. And you don't have to worry about elected officials like Antonio Hayes not giving a damn whether you early vote, not giving a damn whether or not the polling place is open or not. You're going to sit home in your location where you're residing, and you're going to go ahead and vote by mail.
I like that idea. Again, what you're saying makes sense. It's clear. You can sit in your home, you can visit your family, friends, whoever you get advice from, or they get advice from you as well, okay, vice versa, and take your time, go over who you want to vote for, vet them, please. And this goes for everyone, not just the golden agers and the older adults. Vet who you're going to vote for. Look at them closely, because the city has just got this regurgitation over and over and over again of what I deem bottom feeders. And you see a name on a ballot, oh, I recognize the name, and then you just check off, and it's like, wait a second, that's not the person you thought it was, or originally thought it may be. This is somebody different. They have a similar name, or somebody's, kid or grandkid, or whatever, or somebody who has a similar name or something like that. But Doc is correct. Take your time, go over who you're going to vote for, and this mail-in ballot for the golden agers, the seniors, I agree wholeheartedly. I think it's an intelligent, smart idea.
And there's a phase 2 to it that we introduced last December, and that is we created a Golden Ages report card. And the report card is tailored for the 2024 gubernatorial election that also includes the mayoral election. And there are 20 issues that are listed on this report card. And whether you're voting for the mayor, the controller, the president of the city council, or the members of the council, you can actually grade each one of them in 20 different areas from 0 to 5. And then you look at the report card that you create yourself. We don't want your report card. That's for your benefit. But then you can actually rate what kind of grading you give to that elected official, and you determine whether or not he or she it deserves to be reelected. And in many cases, you're going to find for the 2024 election here in Baltimore, the overwhelming majority don't deserve to be reelected.
You'll be surprised at these guys did this grading system. I went over it, and you'll be surprised at the grades that you give once you really look and vet the candidates. And it's, again, Doc, I mean, you're on point today. Wow. He's hitting them out of the park, Rock. Because it is a great idea. Brilliant.
Well, it's all about being old, trying to use what little wisdom God has given you and left you with. But it's really just looking at what we are confronted with day to day and trying to figure out what is the easiest way to make an intelligent decision on who you're going to vote for. And it shouldn't be because of what fraternity or sorority, what union they belong to, whether they're a D or a R or a Green Party. You want to vote on the best candidate, regardless of race, religion, sexual preference. None of that should matter. The most important thing, are they qualified, deserving, and electable to go into that position? And we've given you 20 legitimate reasons to look at it and determine whether or not they've done a good job, they've done a poor job, or they've done nothing at all. Because if they've done nothing at all, that's even worse than doing something bad.
Bless you, Rock. Thank you. Thank you. He's over there sneezing away. No, but if it does not matter, again, I agree with you, again, wholeheartedly, Doc, on this issue. If they have a D in front of their name, pause. If they have an aura in front of their name, if they have an I in front of their name, an L, a G, whatever, forget that crap. Who's the best person for the job? That's the problem that the city of Baltimore has had, because they see that D and that's it. It's a D, a R, and L. Just check the D. And look at the situation you have in the city by doing that over and over and over and over again. You got a hot mess. So, Doc, I agree. Check off the person who is the best person for the job. Forget those letters next to the name. Okay, I agree wholeheartedly. And what we're going to do, we're going to swing into this MDEC. Have you ever heard of the MDEC system? It's an acronym for Maryland Electronic Court. The Maryland Electronic Court.
Okay.
The MDEC allows users to electronically view and file documents in a court case to which they are a party. Lawyers are required to use MDEC. The public is not required to use MDEC. And if you register and e-file electronically, file one time. If you file one time, you must e-file all future documents and e-file all future cases. This is like some kind of Borg or Matrix setup. Once you're in, then you're essentially trapped. But this MDEC thing is big, and
it is a state thing or
state. It's all throughout the state. The different circuit courts, county and the Baltimore City Circuit Court as well, are included in having this MDEC. And anyway, here's a report from Barry Simms at the onset of this system being implemented, when it originally started being implemented. Here's his report. This was several years ago, but Rock, could you cut one, please?
Files and more files at this district court, Maryland's court system, trying to get rid of the paperwork by relying on technology. The cost, $46.7 million. The rollout starting in Anne Arundel County.
It's pretty simple technology. It's the same as sending a email with an attachment from your laptop. Same thing happens in the MDEC world.
MDEC is the Maryland Electronic Courts System.
So there's my document.
Ray Samnani, a managing consultant for Texas-based Tyler Technologies, gives a demonstration of how attorneys use the system to file cases and how the courts keep track of case information. According to the court system, this is replacing the 11 different outdated case management systems across the state. Here in Annapolis, some concerns about glitches.
I would say right now it's cumbersome. We are having a hard time making sure that all the processes work. We're having a hard time making sure that we can see all the information that we need to see.
Anne Arundel County State's Attorney Wes Adams says he's had problems making sure all of the witnesses listed in the case are in the court record. And the Sheriff's Office says it asked for adjustments to verify open warrants. Public Defender Bill Davis says it's created more work for his office. He says with the MDEC rollout, some people have not received court dates.
We are identifying the individuals who have been in jail for a longer period of time than they should. They should have trial dates. They don't have trial dates, so now we have to file bail reviews in all of these cases, explain the situation to the court.
Judge John Morrissey says the court system is listening to the complaints and working to make the system user-friendly.
There's always issues. Whenever you're trying to do a system this large on all the levels of the court, the district, the circuit, and both the appellate courts.
Now, Judge Morrissey says he has lots of confidence in the new system. The rollout again started here in Anne Arundel County. Next, it moves to the Eastern Shore, and then the rest of the state. Reporting live from Annapolis, Barry Simms, WPAL-TV, 11 News.
Now, that was several years ago, initially when the MDEC system was being implemented in the different circuit courts throughout the state. Each county and a city has a circuit court. Now, what's going on presently is that, Doc, did you know that all of the circuit courts throughout the state, Anne Arundel County, Baltimore County, Montgomery, Prince George's, Frederick, Wacomico, Carroll, etc., Howard, all of them have the MDEC system set up.
No, wasn't knowledgeable about it.
Now here's the situation that we have. Oh my goodness, here we go again. I mean, I get sick and tired of this. Baltimore City Circuit Court does not have the MDEC system set up.
Oh, okay, that's probably why I don't know about it.
Oh yeah, they're keeping that under the radar, hush hush. But we at the Outsiders, we're the people who broke the Clean Core story, okay? And it looks like we're the people who are going to have to go in on this MDEC situation because it's flying under the radar and it's an embarrassment. Again, here we have Baltimore City, and it's the largest circuit court, and they don't have the MDEC system set up. And it may be a little bit more difficult to get the MDEC set up when the top person at the circuit court is continually AWOL. Oopsie, ooh-wee. Did I say that? Oops, oopsie. That might make it a little bit more difficult, okay? If they're continually AWOL and they have security cameras in the front door of their office when they said they were going to have an open door policy. Oopsie again. And you got to ring in with security cameras and a locked door. Now, Frank never did any crap like that. Oh yeah, that's what is going on.
Oh, I hadn't heard about that, so we heard it through the grapevine.
Yeah, let me get this real quick. I'm going to read an email that the Outsiders sent to the communications folk at Maryland courts, and sent this email out Tuesday, March 28th. And I'm going to read it. Good afternoon. And this was to Terry Charles, who's the communications person and the communications people. These questions are for Xavier Conaway. Again, what we were just talking about with voting somebody because of a name and not knowing they're 24 years old. Clerk of the court for Baltimore City. Now, you folks voted him in. Now, okay. There's a question, when will the Maryland electronic court system be implemented and completed for the Baltimore City Circuit Court? And there's another question. Who and or what have been the cause for the delays in the MDEC system being implemented? Thanks, Sean Simms, host of The Outsiders. Now, I haven't gotten a response.
Commendable idea for addressing it. I think that's great. I think it really is. Golly gee. That's a little discouraging that, that a system has been created to assist us through the process of dealing with legal cases, and we have not done it. So what we're in the month of March, getting ready to go into April. So I think, let's be fair. You got 2 months. And if not by 2 months, I think we need to raise holy heck about it, because this individual ran on the name, and if he walked in front of me right now, I wouldn't know what he looks like.
I got asked when I was at the canvassing that took place during the primary, this young man who I saw on television, he's a House delegate. I'll get his name. Actually, I'm going to give him a call as well. He's a House delegate, and I'm sitting there, they're counting the votes and so on, and this young man comes over to me, and he asked me, he goes, are you Xavier Conaway? And this is a true story. I'm not making this up.
Golly gee.
And I'll get him on air, and he'll tell you what happened. And I looked at him. I said, no, I am, a lot older than he is. I'm actually old enough to be his dad. He goes, really? I said, yeah. He's actually 24 years old. He stood back. You should have saw the look on this guy's face, like aghast. What? I've never seen him. Wow, he's only 20. Then he runs back to his buddies where they were watching the vote and the canvassing, and I guess he told them, but no, nobody would know what he looks like. But that's the situation that's going on, and the outsiders are going to keep an eye on it, and hopefully the communications people with the Maryland court system will get back to me with some type of answer. And let's roll right to the next subject matter, because this city, good grief, my how do you square the circle of having a cleaning nonprofit that cleans streets in Baltimore City in the form of West Arlington Improvement Association, who have been cleaning the streets of Baltimore City for over a decade? And I spoke with Sean Stinnett, who is the guy, the owner, I guess, of this West Arlington Improvement Association, to see if he would come on the show, but his schedule was conflicting with, get this, with his Saturday, I guess, routine of neighborhood cleaning efforts. So he couldn't come and do the show on the Saturday. So, okay, that's fine. So this guy has been doing this on a regular for some time. It looks like over a decade, 10 years, 12 years. It's been a while. Now, on the other side of the coin, let's look at one of the awardees, and that's Lazarus White Inc., which has an owner with a AK-47 dealing, cocaine selling, AWOL jumping background, and is currently in a bankruptcy and foreclosure, but he received the largest grant of $1.346 million. But he has a trucking company. He trains guys to do CDLs. He doesn't clean. He's not a professional at cleaning or experienced at cleaning streets and refuse and so on. And he doesn't specialize in it. Doc, how does that circle square?
Well, I'm very disturbed being a community president of probably the largest density community in West Baltimore, which is Matthew Henson Neighborhood Association. That because of the major error that was made by Dr. Wynn, who was the health commissioner some years ago, when she created Safe Streets, it created a map of the areas that needed assistance in a lot of areas, including health, sanitation, crime and violence. And the map that she created drew a line right at the beginning of my neighborhood association. Mm-hmm. Mind you, she and many elected officials aren't familiar with the neighborhood that I live in. So I'm very disturbed with the area that Lazarus is covering, because I feel that my area, which is Matthew Henson Neighborhood Association, should in fact be included, especially since it's in zone 21217, which is one of the most challenging zip codes, along with 21216 and 21223 in West Baltimore. So I'm a little disturbed. I'm hoping that someone from Lazarus hears this, because I'm hoping and praying, that they will be men and women enough to realize that they're not as knowledgeable about Baltimore City as some others of us, and not that I'm really that intelligent, I'm just old, but they need to look at communities that they may have overlooked inadvertently. I don't think they did it on purpose, but it's clear when you're making a few $100,000 to the point of making $1 million or more, you need to be inclusive, not exclusive. And I find Lazarus is being exclusive, or whoever made the decision on what neighborhoods they will cover, that I want to cry out for my own neighborhood, Matthew Henson, that deserves to be covered to get this cleanup done. Mind you, we'll put our community up against any in West Baltimore as to how clean we are.
I know you definitely will. And our guest last week was Eurypsy Morgan, and she actually she spoke about this issue in another venue and giving her legal analysis of the situation. And Rob, could you go to that and cut to, please?
It's created a lot of problems with keeping the city clean. And so the mayor decided that through this initiative, Clean Core, they were going to take this money, it's $14.7 million, and they were going to give it to certain nonprofits in Baltimore City. There are a lot of problems with that. I'll explain in just a moment. But the idea was that these nonprofits would then turn around and hire people who were unemployed or underemployed, and that those people would then help clean up these 15 neighborhoods, and great, it would work out for everybody. Except that that's not really the way things are supposed to work. So we have DPW, part of their job description actually under the city code, that they maintain a weekly schedule of trash pickup and recycling pickup. So actually there was a local member of the community who has initiated some legal proceedings because DPW is actually failing according to what the city code requires them to do. Weekly trash pickup, weekly recycling pickup. On top of that, there are a lot of questions about how this program is actually going to function. I'm an attorney, and one of the questions I had was, okay, well, if one of these people that you hire, one of these unemployed or underemployed people that you hire, what if one of them gets injured? Do they have proper training, right? That was one of the things that this citizen legal proceeding brought up, was that, look, people are being exposed as they're picking up trash and refuse and all this stuff to things like needles, used needles. So are the people that these nonprofits hiring, are they equipped? Do they have the proper equipment to pick up the type of trash and waste, including needles, things like that, dangerous and hazardous material? Do they have the proper equipment? Do they have the proper training to do this? This is why we have a DPW, because they do that training for their workers.
Well, yes. You need to be trained properly. You're talking about health issues, and I mean that's a serious situation when you're talking about picking up needles and hepatitis and all this other stuff that you can catch. And Doc, what do you think about this not having health insurance?
Well, here's my overall thinking. It's clear that we need the man and woman power to help clean up this filthy city. There needs to be a meeting of the minds for folks to sit down and, as soon as possible, bring DPW, Lazarus, and all the different community presidents that are concerned about what's being done and not being done in our neighborhoods. And let's all collectively come together to figure out the blessed plan that's going to accommodate cleaning up our city, but at the same time providing the right funding, the right insurance, the right health, to provide all of that. But you just can't do it as Baltimore City has done in this case. They had a paintbrush and some paint, and they just decided to paint stuff, but you didn't have a plan on how it's going to look when you finish it. And I think that's where we are at this point, that the idea to bring in former felons and folks that don't have jobs to help them help us clean the city, excellent idea. But I just think they hasten to get the money that they got in. It's not benefiting all of the communities, and those that are working are really not legally and health-wise protected.
Well, I agree wholeheartedly, and I've got a second part to what Euripsy did say. And Rock, could you cut 3?
As soon as we empty the garbage can, what happens? You start filling it right back up. So what is the mayor's long-term plan other than to just give away $15 million to these nonprofits with little to no oversight and not fix the problems that are going on in DPW? So I think citizens are right to be concerned with how that money is spent, how those neighborhoods were selected, who selected them, under what criteria, and what is the permanent solution for the vacancies at DPW. These are all questions that are being asked by residents who have a right to know if their city government is doing what's best for them. And that's why this organization, Peace, exists. Again, it's people for elected accountability and civic engagement. That first part, elected accountability. We have to make sure that our elected officials are accountable to you. You own this government. This is your government, and they should be answering these questions to you. Right? And that money is your money. Is it being spent correctly? Are there better ways to spend that money? So if you want to learn more, I urge you please go to our website. It's peacebaltimore.com, and that's PEACE Baltimore.com. Again, you're C. Morgan, and we will talk again.
Yes, that was very interesting what she was saying, and I have here a letter. The person who she's speaking about, who actually has 2 lawsuits against the mayor regarding the trash and recycle with a writ of mandamus, and also having the emergency injunction as well. And that's Desmond Stinney, and he actually sent a letter to the health commissioner, Zarasa, I believe is her name. Mm-hmm. Dear Commissioner Zarasa, the Concerned Citizens of Baltimore is a group consisting of more than 6,400 Baltimore City taxpayers participating as individuals, community associations, businesses, or faith-based organizations that have organized to collectively pursue a set of objectives. And he goes on to state that our city government program known as Clean Core is putting untrained workers in close proximity to biological waste, use hypodermic needles, and members of the program have expressed grave concern with the situation as evidenced in media coverage captured on March 20th, 2023. And more participants are prepared to come forward publicly on this. And as the Commissioner of Health for the people of Baltimore City, we anxiously await your findings and recommendations and request that you share them publicly. I'm going to go over quick with this media story on March 20th, 2023. I'm just going to play this real quick. Hey, Rock, I'm queuing this one up.
About a month ago. In that span, one group says it collected thousands of used drug needles. As Fox 45's Rebecca Pryor reports, they're now calling the alarming number of needles a crisis. Rebecca. Yeah, this group tells me that they're doing all that they can to help clean the streets, but they're concerned with the sheer number of needles that they have been finding, so much so that they're now asking the city to step in.
If you want to walk in right along the fence,
we might find some more.
Not might.
We're working with the city's newly launched Clean Core initiative. Christopher Urban's nonprofit among those tasked with collecting trash and wiping away waste across West Baltimore. But hidden beneath the piles of debris,
There's one. There's a couple.
and sometimes even scattered openly along the sidewalks, it's not just garbage cluttering the curbs.
We were nowhere prepared for the volume of needles that we were finding, not just back in the grass or in the shadows, but literally in the middle of the sidewalks, in the middle of the streets.
According to the CDC, discarded drug needles can lead to the spread of several diseases, including hepatitis and HIV.
Well, that's the situation that you have. You have people out there untrained, picking up all types of biological hazards and so on. And what you gonna do?
Well, let me make this observation that it's clear people decided to take on a task of cleaning up the city, but you didn't really know what you were really going to confront. Now, I live in a community that has a drug problem, a needle problem, a Narcan problem. You name it, we have it. I'm not going to clean up a community if I don't know what type of community I'm cleaning up. And that's why, I'm really skeptical that all of these groups have not come together and had a meeting of the minds as to how we can best address this, because why do you take on a job to clean up and you don't even know what you're cleaning up?
And you've taken on a job. You were awarded $1.346 million, more than the other. Lazarus Wright received more than the other. This includes Bon Secours in the award amount. And you are a trucker. You're not a professional person for cleaning. And so how are you going to teach people how to do so? You can teach them how to drive a truck. Sure, fine. But how are you going to teach people how to clean properly? You have the DPW. You have the DPW, the Department of Public Works, okay, Jason Mitchell, who's supposed to be leaving in April. Now it's June. I don't know what this guy is doing. I mean, the sooner you leave, Jason, the better. Bye, leave. Leave already. But this is what Department of Public Works, that's what they specialize in. And they are, 100 people short as well?
Yeah, I think it's a couple of hundred people short, but I really think that the help is needed. But they need to be properly trained. They need to be legally protected in what they're doing. And I really think there needs to be a meeting of the minds, and it needs to be inclusive of all of the communities that have a garbage and trash problem, not certain communities that certain elected officials have decided, because it's clear the list that you have of communities is very discriminatory, and it's negative when you really don't know the city. That comment that I heard that folks took on a cleaning job and didn't know the community that you were going in is inundated with drug users, then you don't know the work that you're doing. And I'm saying my community is one of those. You have no idea. If you've not been in my area, you don't know that we're the real Freddie Gray area, not Penn North, where the elected officials marched around and took photos. You need to go to the real Freddie Gray area, where there are 13 businesses that were damaged during the riot, more than any other in Baltimore City. That's the kind of neighborhood you need to go to.
I agree. Just 16 neighborhoods that these guys are supposed to be cleaning up. How many neighborhoods are there in Baltimore City, Doc?
Well, it might be almost as many churches.
Hundreds of neighborhoods.
We got that many. We got maybe 100 just in West Baltimore, because every 3 blocks you go to is a different neighborhood.
I mean, I'm doing the math. If they're doing 16 neighborhoods and you've got hundreds of neighborhoods, 200-300 plus neighborhoods, what's that? That's less than 10. What's like 5%?
Plus, I would challenge any of those folks doing it, that you got 16 neighborhoods. I would challenge them. Can you sit down with me and let's map out what the boundaries are of each one of those communities. Most of you don't know it because even the city doesn't have an accurate record of the boundaries of these communities. So you're doing guesswork.
Oh boy.
The same guesswork that Dr. Wynn did when she created Safe Streets, and she admitted in my community meeting that she had done us an injustice because she had put down Safe Streets at 21217. Well, half of my community is 21217, and it is not included in the Safe Streets boundary.
Well, it sounds like to me that you have a mountain of incompetence with this situation, with them not doing the correct boundaries. You only have 16 neighborhoods they're covering with a city that has hundreds of neighborhoods, and you've got the funds that are going to someone who doesn't know what they're doing. Clearly, they're a trucker, and they're getting more than anyone else as far as the award. And you have another situation where you have biohazards, and you have multiple, you have one situation piled on another, and it's ongoing, and this could get really bad as far as a legal and lawsuit issue. There may be, I don't know, I'm going to go out on a limb, it's a hunch, but there may be a possibility, you heard it here on the Outsiders first, again, there might be a possibility that there may be more lawsuits coming for other issues involving the city. That's just a hunch. I'm not saying for sure, but this situation is getting out of hand, and the Outsiders, we're going to keep an eye on this. And who else? You know who else should be keeping an eye on this? And I sent her an email. I haven't heard anything back yet. Isabel Cumming, the Office of the Inspector General, who's independent now. Remember, Isabel, you're independent. Remember that. She should be looking into this Clean Core business. I think that should be something that the Inspector General should be taking a look at least, Doc?
I definitely agree. I also agree, I have to say that the mayor and his group acted swiftly dealing with this bringing in of wastewater into our area. But this just shows that we need to look at many of the relationships that we have. It is clear that there was a private business going to bring water to us, and we were going to have to pay them. And I'm saying very clearly that we really need a thorough inspection of who the city is doing business with and how the strings are attached, because I still think a major injustice is being done with this BG&E issue. Yes,
that should be definitely looked into as well. BG&E, Inspector General Isabel Cumming, let's step up to the plate. Okay, let's get something done here, since you're independent and all. This is what she said. I'm independent.
Well, here's one idea I have, and Ms. Cummings, you definitely don't have to pay me for the idea, but I think it's a noteworthy idea. Why not have an open house, have a day at War Memorial or someplace accessible to the community, and have a day where your staff and maybe some others are hired temporarily to take down complaints that citizens have that has taken place here in Baltimore City. It may even bring me back out of the woodwork to get another lawsuit filed, since the Baltimore City would not take up the lawsuit. They fumbled with it, and I ended up losing $70,000 Jaguar to the city, tearing up my car through a hole in the ground.
Well, I think this should be that's ridiculous. I remember you told me that story. Outrageous, even more, but I believe that should be looked at as well.
And that was BG&E as well.
Of course, BG&E. I have a history with them, but that's another story.
I think many of us have a not so good history with BG&E.
This is really a good one though, but we'll get into that another time. And I want to let's go national. Let's get out of Baltimore City. We're going to escape now, and let's go into what's going on with Donald J. Trump and this arrest saga. Is he going to be arrested? What's happening here? He said they're going to come and get him. They didn't. And Rock, just go to cut 4, please.
You know what? I don't even drink. But if they indict punk ass Donald Trump and slap some cuffs on him and fingerprint him, you know, Scott Bolden and Robert, I might pour a drink, because it might be party time. So y'all know what's going on. So the Manhattan DA, Alvin Bragg, they are already preparing. Y'all got the video? They sitting up barricades all around the court, and Republicans are losing their damn mind. Lord, they are upset. They are in their feelings, mad and just upset, hollering and screaming, saying this is grossly unfair, this is not right. And it pisses me off. This is America. This is the United States of America. And we over here acting like a third world country? Trying to arrest a former president? What in the hell is going on in this country? Y'all know this is not right. Y'all know this is not okay. And what do they want to arrest him for? For some hush money scheme? Some bullcrap hush money scheme dealing with Stormy Daniels when he sued her and she had to pay him? This is absolutely crazy, people. Literally. No one has been arrested. No one from Jeffrey Epstein's list has been arrested. We got pedophiles and rapists running around this damn country, but they want to lock up President Donald J. Trump. We got people out here committing crimes every damn day, and they giving people a slap on the wrist, but they want to arrest President Donald J. Trump?
Yeah, that's the first person you heard was Roland Martin, talking about, I guess, popping the champagne and drinking, getting his drink on, even though he doesn't drink, if Trump gets arrested. And the second gentleman, that's Terrence K. Williams, and he's obviously upset. I guess he's one of those people that Roland Martin was speaking of. And I don't know, Doc, what do you think is going on with this arrest and this possible arrest and this Alvin Bragg guy who's a Manhattan DA? This looks like Keystone Cops to me.
Well, I know that I'm significantly in a major minority. I just think that so many untruths being told, that anything will be said and done as it relates to this former president. I try not to spend hardly any time, if I need to spend any at all, discussing anything related to this past president. I just think that so many untruths have been told, are being told, information is being given out that's not correct. I think both parties are wasting a lot of time and energy dealing with this past president and all of his issues. And I just feel that there are far too many more important issues than Doc Cheatham at 72 years of age wasting time and energy discussing anything about this past president. I think they're far more important. I know I'm in a minority family that's listening to this, but Doc Cheatham is one of those. I have far more important issues to discuss and solutions to try to recommend to improve my community than wasting time talking about this former president.
Well, I'm going to waste your time just a little bit more. I want to go straight to the source, and that's Stormy Daniels is where this originated with her and Donald Trump, so on. But this is from January 30th, 2018, an official statement of Stormy Daniels. Quickly, I'll read it. Who it may concern, over the past few weeks, I've been asked countless times to comment on reports of an alleged sexual relationship I had with Donald Trump many years ago. The fact of the matter is that each party to this alleged affair denied its existence in 2006, 2011, 2016, 2017, and now again in 2018. I am not denying this affair because I was paid hush money, as has been reported in overseas and tabloids, etc. I am denying this affair because it never happened. I will have no further comment on this matter. Feel free to check me out on Instagram, blah, 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 blah. Hashtag it. Stormy my emails. Or Stormy Daniels, I should say. Thank you, Stormy Daniels. Okay, as far as I'm concerned, that's it. She said there was no affair. Let's move on. Thank you. Goodbye. Now, here is my interview, and I promised it, with White House Correspondent Simon Ateba on the situation that went down when he was trying to ask a question, and Karine Jean-Pierre, the Haitian, and the Cameroonian kind of, I guess, went at it. We played it last week, but I just want to go over and play the interview. That this is going to be a two-part. This is the first part, and man, the second part, wow. But this is the first part. Rock, cut 5.
Okay, Simon Ateba, welcome to The Outsiders. How are things going?
Good. Thank you for having me on.
Okay, fantastic. And saw the little scuttlebutt that you had at the White House press briefing room. What is going on with Karine and asking, or at least allowing the press corps folks in the back to ask questions?
Yes, so there's a way things are being done in the White House for the past maybe 100 years. The same people ask questions and the people in the back watch them. It's not the way you see it on TV. When you watch the press briefing on TV, you see journalists asking questions and the press secretary answering their questions. But what happened in reality is the same number of people, and those people usually they send their questions or topics in advance, and so she has prepared answers in her binder. So when you don't send your questions in advance and you don't follow the rules that they have there that do not benefit the American people, you are sidelined and you are seen as a threat. And that's what's been happening to me. I'm just doing my job for trying to try to ask tough questions. She's sidelining me and discriminating against me and not giving me any question in the past 7 months.
Well, I mean, I saw where, I believe it was not too long ago, several months ago, as you stated, that you had asked a question and she seemed to get upset. This is prior to what happened with the what I call the Ted Lasso incident, because they had the TV show there. But what had happened before the last time you and Karine actually had some words?
Yeah, so the last time we had that type of exchange was in December. That was just before the U.S. African Leaders Summit. Mm-hmm. President Biden was receiving 50 African leaders in Washington, D.C., and she won't even take a question from the African journalists up in the White House. Think about that. The president is receiving almost all the leaders in Africa in Washington, D.C. for the U.S. African Leaders Summit, where we were trying to strengthen ties with Africa. But the guy covering Africa in the White House wasn't given the opportunity to answer questions. You are left with nothing else than to hear the question. And that's not your first option. It's not your second option. It's not even your third option. You do many things at the White House. You can send questions if you want an answer. Outside the press briefing, you can go to lower press, you can go to the press secretary office, you can attend background calls, you can talk to officials, you receive documents. It's a machine. The White House is a big machine, and it's a 24-hour job. And so when you exhaust all those things, you realize that it's not. Let me tell you what happened today. We just had a background call today on the U.S. resident who was living in Rwanda. The U.S.
played a major role there. But when they took questions, even for the guys in Rwanda, is from Africa, they didn't take any single question from any African journal.
Well, that sounds like some type of prejudice situation going on there. And I mean, I know Kareem's from Haiti, which is in the Western Hemisphere, and you're from, correct me if I'm wrong, Cameroon originally?
He sounds a little low there.
And so she should understand. She should understand immigrants and maybe better. But I don't say that anymore because I've seen many people who have nothing to do with immigrants who are actually nice and who invest, in their training, in all kinds of people, white people, black people, brown people. I've seen kindness in the U.S. And so it's hard for me to say if someone was poor and then it would be nice to poor people, or if someone is rich, it would be nice to rich people. But all I'm saying is, it's not about liking me, it's about respecting the First Amendment.
Exactly.
The First Amendment protects freedom, speech, the freedom of the press, association, and even the right to petition your government to seek redress. And so, whether you like someone or you don't like them, you can't discriminate against them, you can't silence them, you can't sideline them because they ask you an uncomfortable question. Those things are in a dictatorship where people don't believe in the rule of law, they don't have maybe the First Amendment, and they don't respect the Constitution. And that's what she's doing in the White House.
Well, we're originally, I just want to, go back as far as your beginning. Where did you start out as far as being a journalist?
Yeah, that was the first part. Okay, there's a second part. Oh boy, wow, this guy, I'll tell you what, Doc, he is the real deal. Wait till you hear the second part of this interview. But what he's saying is that, hey, look, they're not asking or calling on him to ask questions because he asks poignant, tough questions, and they don't want that. So maybe Kareem, you can clearly see over the months, several months, and so on, she's been having some difficulty. But I don't know what it is with this discriminatory, and I call it the media hierarchy. They have a media hierarchy here in Baltimore as well, and in the state, throughout the country. And you can hear from Simon Ateba that there's some type of media hierarchy where he's not being picked.
Yeah, there seems to be an inequity here. I know that there's a process and procedure having dealt with being at some of these public meetings where they let you ask questions and they require you to put the questions, not the entire text, but to indicate what you want to make a question about. But it seems like there is an inequity here in who's being allowed to ask the hard and fast questions. And, all the questions should not be softball questions. You're being paid at a very high salary because of the expertise you're supposed to have in fielding these questions that I really think we need to finally make this an issue, with other communities, that there's an equity here and the White House needs to make this correction.
Well, we're going to have the second part next week for you all, but the Outsiders, we're going to be leaving now. And thanks for listening. Thanks for being here for our supporters, YouTube, our subscribers. You listen to us on YouTube. Please subscribe because we're growing, steadily growing, and we're the point of the spear, getting this information out, giving you the inside information with the Outsiders. So God bless and take care all.